this time of the year is when we start to change from summer and spring garden over to the fall, and things start to look quite different. I've already began planting my fall crops. I'm planting broccoli. I've got broccoli planted down this bed right here and also on this side of that one. I'm not the greatest when it comes to planting broccoli. Seems like I plant it every year and it gets ate up by bugs. Um, Fortunately, we are having a cold front, so maybe they'll get tall enough to where the bugs won't eat them all the way down. Maybe. I've also gotten more rutabagas planted down this row and this row too. I'm trying to keep everything, the same things planted down the same rows this year and not on both sides of the same bed so that it's easier to keep up with. And I've gotten turnips planted along this row and that one there too. And my sweet potatoes are still taking over. I actually had to pull one sweet potato out because it got ate, the stem got ate by something, so I pulled it out and we have sweet potatoes. So with these sweet potatoes, I was given some sweet potatoes from my sister-in-law. They had bad spots on them, so they weren't really edible. You could have cut them off, but I decided to plant them instead. And that 2 sweet potatoes grew all of those vines. And sweet potatoes, the leaves and the stems are also edible, not just the root. So if you're looking to save space and you want to plant something that has multiple uses, try sweet potatoes. And here are some of the sweet potatoes that are growing. And there's a cluster there. And there's also some in there. Right there. So I planted a sweet potato there and one right there. And they have taken over the walkway. Come around to there. The fence. And on that trellis. So I've never grown sweet potatoes until this year, and I will definitely be planting them again. It really is as simple as just putting them in the dirt. I had another sweet potato that I planted in a little kiddie pool, and I used it to grow slips, and I got some of those slips pulled off and replanted a few weeks ago. And here they are. And they are growing good. And I'm hoping I'll be able to harvest sweet potatoes from it too. So I tend to always grow the basics. But up until the last 2 or 3 years, I haven't really had the space to grow a bunch of other things that I've never grown before. But now I've expanded my garden enough to where I can add things that I've never grown before. And I will definitely be growing more sweet potatoes. My first garden was a raised bed garden, and it was probably about 8 by 10 or 12, maybe. It was a small garden, and I didn't have room for a lot of things. So, since then, I have added on lots over the years. I don't have a picture of my first garden, but I do have a picture of my garden that I think it was my second or third year garden. I had tried to plant in ground, did not work for me. So I went back to raised beds, and now I've ended up with all these beds. And I'm planning on adding more. And my husband is thrilled. But I've got kale planted, sugar peas planted, collards, some Swiss chard, lettuce, cabbage, English peas, radishes, beets, as well as spinach. I've gotten almost everything planted so far, and fingers crossed nothing else gets ate. They probably will. So one of the downsides of not using any pesticides while gardening is that there are lots of pests, and the battle is endless. But if you plant enough where it doesn't matter if half of them get ate, then no harm. So currently, I still have okra, beans, rattlesnake pole beans. I also have flea leg bush beans in this bed and that one, as well as lots of peppers in those two beds back there. And these are my peppers. So the plan for my peppers is to hopefully get those covered before we have a frost, which will come later on in the year. Last year I picked peppers until December, like the last week of December. So who knows when it'll be this year. But I'm gonna get those covered with a frost cover and hopefully be able to overwinter those peppers so I don't have to replant next year. So I had like 6 or 7 come back from last year, which is great. And behind me, these poor tomatoes that have definitely seen better days. We'll probably have no more tomatoes for the rest of the year, which is really sad considering we didn't really have that great of a tomato year this year. It just got way too hot, way too quick, and with tomatoes, when they start to lose their blossoms when it gets too hot, and it's definitely been hot this year. And with these tomatillas behind me, I think I'm going to grow them again next year as a bug trap. Maybe if most of the caterpillars and stuff go to it, maybe I'll leave the stuff I want to eat alone. They can have the tomatillas. Well, I guess that's all for today. I don't want to turn this into a 20-minute video, so thank you for watching. I've also been doing shorts. I'm not sure if it shows up on notifications or not, so I figured I'd give you a heads up. I have one short of the pigs eating, so if you know someone that doesn't like smacking, feel free to send that video to them. Thank you for watching.